In this video we are taking a look at two PerGear lenses, the 35mm f1.6 and the 50mm f1.8. To be fair, these reviews are a little bit overdue. I was hoping to have had them done well before now. But a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, I reviewed another PerGear lens, the 25mm f1.8, and overall I was very impressed with that lens. And these two are fairly similar to that. Like the 25mm, neither of these are designed for full frame camera bodies. They're designed either for aps-c, available in the Sony E-mount or the Fuji X-mount, and they're also available in micro four thirds as well. Now, externally, the 35 1.6 looks absolutely identical in near enough every way to the 25mm f1.8. It's pretty much exactly the same size. It's a fully manual lens, manual focus, manual aperture, no electronic contacts. It has a fairly long focus throw on the manual focus ring. You have the manual aperture that ranges from 1.6 all the way down to f16. The ring designs are different to each other, which I find makes them quite easy to distinguish, so you're not kind of mistakenly turning your aperture ring when you're trying to get at your focus ring. The focus throw is pretty long and the focus ring turns pretty smoothly and effortlessly as well. And despite the lens costing only $70, it's all metal construction and it feels really solid. The 50mm is a little bit more expensive at $80, has a pretty similar concept of all metal construction, feels really solid, all manual lens with no external contacts. However, the external design of this is a little bit different. The focus ring has a more conventional feel to it versus the more unusual design of the 35 and the 25mm. The aperture ring on this is also different to the other lenses in that it's very similar to the focus ring. Now, that's not as much of a problem with this lens because the lens is physically quite a bit taller, so the focus ring and aperture ring are further apart from each other. You're less likely to get them confused. Also, the physical grip of the aperture ring is a little bit bigger as well. On these, there's a very small area to actually grab onto, and it can be a little bit uncomfortable on your fingertips. With the 50mm design, it does feel more comfortable, but I do wish these were still different to each other. I think I actually prefer the focus ring grip of this lens and the aperture ring of this lens. In terms of the focus ring on this, it's still pretty smooth, but it does feel stiffer than I found on the 35 and the 25. And the focus throw on this isn't quite as long as I think I would have liked. Bearing in mind we're talking about a 50mm focal length for a crop sensor camera, which is either 75mm equivalent for aps-c or 100mm on micro four thirds, I found when subjects are quite a distance away, trying to fine-tune the focus and get like pinpoint accuracy can be quite difficult. So I think a slightly longer focus throw would have been nicer, but then we are talking about an 80 quid lens. You can't expect everything. In terms of image quality for both of these lenses, again, the budget lenses, they're nothing particularly special in terms of image quality. They are pretty sharp center of the frame all the way through. Even the corners hold up fairly well, to be honest. I think my biggest criticisms of the image quality for both of these is the lack of contrast when shooting wide open, and also against bright lights. They do suffer with quite a bit of flaring, and the contrast drops even further pretty much at all apertures. But the image quality of both of these lenses, same as I said for the 25mm actually, whilst not technically the best, obviously, in terms of things like, you know, the out of focus renderings do look a little bit crazy, but they do have their own character to them. They've got more what seems a bit more like a vintage sort of lens look. which is seemingly quite a trendy thing to have these days. And these lenses are pretty fun lenses to use as well. So I do think they will be quite appealing for people who just want to have a bit of a play around, to be honest. And whilst they're made of metal and they do have a little bit of weight and bulk to them, they're not particularly overpowering. They're still small enough and light enough that you can throw them in your kit bag, they won't get in the way, and you will use them on occasion and have a bit of fun with them. So if you are looking for a budget lens option for aps-c, Sony E-mount, Fuji X-mount, or Micro Four Thirds, pretty much any of these three PerGear lenses, these two or the 25 that I reviewed previously, are really good fun options for that won't break the bank. But now, the reason why you'll really come to this video, the giveaways. Now, I did a giveaway for the 25mm that I reviewed last time. Unfortunately, with that one, I was actually sent the lens to then send on to the winner, so it came in Sony E-mount. It was only open to Sony E-mount users. The good news with this giveaway is I am giving away the 50 and the 35mm, but they're not coming from me this time, they're coming from PerGear, which means the contest is open to anyone on Sony E-mount, Fuji X-mount, or Micro Four Thirds. Now obviously I'm giving away two lenses here. There are going to be two winners, but you might have a preference over whether you want the 50 or the 35. So to make this fair, one, all of my prize draws are at random, so I'm literally going to, well, not quite pick a name out of a hat, but it will be a random selection. And two, everyone is going to get a single entry. So the way we're going to do it is very simple. All you need to do to enter is, firstly, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Secondly, leave a comment down below with the words prize draw and then either 50 or 35, depending on which lens you want to be in the draw for. So if you want to be in the draw for the 50mm, you put prize draw 50, and if you want to be in with a chance of winning the 35, you put prize draw 35. And then in a week or so, I will pick one of the comments that say prize draw 35 at random and one of the comments that say prize draw 50 at random. But to make it fair, everyone only gets one entry each. So if you try and screw the system and say prize draw 50 and 35, your entry will not count. If you put two comments, one saying 35 and one saying 50, I will not count either comment. So make sure you pick which lens you would like to be in with a chance of winning and then put that as your comment. Simple enough? Awesome. So, as always, guys, if you have any other questions or queries, the comment box is down below while you're down there. If you haven't already, well, obviously, you need to subscribe to the channel to make sure you're in with a chance of winning anyway. But if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it the old thumbs up as well. Thank you so much for stopping by, and hopefully, I will see you in the next video.